this is Adrian Duncan, and I'm doing your sun signs. And I think a lot of people, if they're thinking, they must think that, well, there's 6 billion people in the world and there's 12 sun signs, so it must be very general. And in a way it's general. To do sun signs is quite general. But on the other hand, it's amazing how specific you can be. It is possible to categorize people just like you can categorize countries. You know, Americans, they're not like Canadians, although there's some Americans that are like Canadians, but generally you can see there's a really different character. Or the French and the German, they're very different. And in the same way, sun signs, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, they show sort of some major characteristics in each sign which the other signs don't share, and in that sense it's kind of possible to make some kind of general predictions about people's lives. And it's not that easy, in fact. To write sun signs, you probably have to be a good writer. I'm not sure if I am, but you do have to know astrology in depth. You have to know where the planets are and what they're doing. So I thought I'd just demonstrate a little bit something about how the sun signs are done. And I've got examples of dailies, weeklies, monthlies and yearlies, and this is going to be how to do daily sun signs. So you can learn it by watching the video. This is a horoscope for the 11th of May. Now, you might not remember the 11th of May, but the 11th of May was when the bearded lady, Conchita Wurst, won the Eurovision Song Contest. And you could say, well, how could that happen? You know, like a man who dressed like a woman with a beard. How could this person not only win the Eurovision Song Contest, but actually win by a huge margin? And it's actually, if you're working with sun sign astrology, you know that this day, the 11th of May, which is the morning or the night when he became the winner, it's just a crazy day. And what you're looking at here is really the fact that Venus is in Aries and Mars is in Libra. Mars actually rules Aries and Venus rules Libra, so they're in their opposite signs and they're both in detriment or exile. They kind of don't function so well there. And you might think that Venus and Mars come in opposition like this quite often, but the only time with Mars is retrograde. The only time this happened before was in 1982 and about 1936 or 34. 1982, just when Margaret Thatcher sunk General Belgrano battleship in the Falklands War, and 1936 or 4 when Hitler reinvaded or took over broke the Treaty of Versailles and went back into the Ruhr. So it's a pretty unusual, even though they move quite fast, these planets, this kind of opposition from Aries to Libra has only happened twice in the last century. But that's not the thing that makes this day crazy. It's also the day when Jupiter, Pluto, Uranus are in a T-square and opposite Mars. And this T-square, well, especially the Uranus-Pluto square, which takes place 7 times over 5 years, that's why we have a financial crisis today. This T-square with Jupiter is very rare, and May 2014, you can hear about it in my monthly video. May 2014 was sure to be crazy, but this was when Mars and Venus constellated in a grand cross with that, and that's why it was a crazy day. So if you're writing sun signs for somebody on this day, you have to be a little bit careful what you write. But here's roughly how you do it. So what you have to do when you're doing sun signs for people, you have to make a horoscope with equal houses and the actual sign that you're dealing with on the ascendant. So you can see here that this would be a sun sign for Scorpio, with Scorpio in the first house. Every house is made equal, and what you would look at is the ruling planet, and in sun sign astrology, you'd use Mars as a traditional ruler of Scorpio, and you look at Mars and you think, okay, how's Mars doing today? And you say, oh, it's opposite Venus, and then you start writing some kind of text for that. So let's say we actually had to do it for a sign like Sagittarius. We make the ascendant Sagittarius, and then we look at Jupiter, because Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So you've got Jupiter here; it's in the 8th house, and you'd work out what to say from looking at Jupiter square the Moon and square Uranus and Venus. So the kind of thing you might write at that particular time would be something like, here we are in Sagittarius, you're looking at the horoscope on the one side and you start writing on the other, and you might sort of say, if you're interested in a romantic date, why? Because Venus is in Aries and in the 5th house. Then now could be the time to ride the tiger, because it's a very dangerous day. So if you want to date, expect excitement. And then you might write, otherwise you could let a friend take the risks in love. That might be what you might want to write for Sagittarius. Why a friend? Because looking at the solar horoscope for Sagittarius, you can see that there's a hell of a lot in the 11th house, the Moon and Mars. Mars is very, very indiscreet in Libra, so that's why you'd rather hope that the friend took that romantic date. So that's something, an example about how you might do a daily horoscope. As you can see, you have to know exactly what the planets are doing. And when I do horoscopes for the daily, weekly, monthly and yearly, I'm looking at about 400 to 500 horoscopes every month. It takes 20 hours work, so if you appreciate the work, subscribe. And if you subscribe, you can see tomorrow, next week, next month and next year. So check out my weekly, monthly and yearly videos, and enjoy the sunset.